If you saw my video on Tuesday, we made these 4 cards and then we mass produced them using a computer, printer, etc. And let's face it, a computer is not everyone's cup of tea. So today I'm going to show you how to make a lot of Christmas cards in bulk using just your watercolor paper and supplies. And I'll link Tuesday's video up there in the corner. For the supplies you're going to need today, this is also in the description if you want to pause and scroll down to the description and go grab the supplies, but you can watch this section too and then pause. So you're going to need watercolor paints. Again, I'm going to use my core because I have the whole lid full of paint that I still need to use up. You know with watercolor, you just don't use a lot of paint. So I'm going to use up some of this. I may have to add here and there. But you don't need fancy paint like this. You can use whatever you have. You can see here that koi would work just fine. Anything you have. These are cheap Nijis. Love these. So I have a whole bunch of options here, but you can even just use your old grade school paints. These are actually mine from elementary school. So they're old. Anyway, my son's paints, and these are probably a little bit nicer quality. It's hard to say. But whatever you have, grab them. And then you saw, if you watched my Tuesday video, I ran out of gold gel pen and I couldn't find another gold pen. So I'm going to use these Praying Metallics again. And they work surprisingly well. So you'll need to grab either gold gel pen, gold Sharpie, gold metallic paint, whatever you have to add a little sparkle and shine to your cards. And then for paper, I'm going to use this Canson XL 11 by 15. Now, I normally hate this paper, but for projects like this, it's actually just fine. It's cheap paper, and let's admit it, how many people are going to keep your card? I mean, maybe if they know you painted it, they'll keep it around a while, but a lot of people grab your card, appreciate it, maybe hang it up for the season, and then toss it in the trash. So I did not want to use my expensive Arches or other cotton paper. So this is not paper I enjoy painting on normally, but again, for this project, it's going to work out perfectly. So nice big sheets, and this is going to give us 5 cards per sheet. So today I'll show you how to do 10 cards in total, but then you can just repeat them as many times as you want. So grab whatever paper you have. Doesn't matter, and the size really doesn't matter as long as the initial size is going to be big enough to fit on your card base. So again, we're not gonna, like Tuesday's video, we're not gonna use this and fold it and make a card out of it, because watercolor paper, even this stuff, is gonna start costing a lot of money. So we use card bases, and this is just like a postcard card base. You saw this in my Tuesday video. You can just put your card right on top, and basically you send a postcard style card in the envelope. But if you don't like that version, then you can use an actual cardstock card base. And you get these in large packages, and they are not very much money. So Walmart might have these, Target, Amazon definitely has them. Or if you just have some thicker paper at home that's real cheap, you can cut them and fold them yourself. And then this is a printout, so it's not as cool, but our finished paintings will just be taped right on top. And that's something I forgot to grab, was my taper, but you will need some kind of tape or glue to put your painting on top of at the end. All right, next thing is pens. Now, I told you Tuesday, I am not a letterer. I do not do lettering. So if you are comfortable with lettering, you can use these pens to do your sayings like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you want to write. So Sharpies in different colors will work okay. They don't get fancy like actual lettering pens. I think this might be some kind of lettering pen. It just terrifies me, so yeah, I'm not going to be using these, but you can if you want to write your own sayings. Also, a micron or black brush pen or any color brush pen you want to use if you feel comfy writing them yourself. But I don't, so I will probably use a stamp set like this, just because I have it. You know, I used to be a scrapbooker, have these laying around. So you put it on a block, dip it in ink, and stamp it right on your card, and it looks professional every single time. So if you don't have a stamp set like that, you don't want to write it, you can also go grab your Christmas paper, if you have some that say Merry Christmas on it or whatever. This one says Merry Christmas. This one says Deck the Halls. Yep, just deck the halls. So you could cut a nice square piece of these sayings out from your paper and use those. You could also grab last year's Christmas cards that maybe you kept for decoration and cut out the sayings from those. You're going to need salt. I have a different salt than Tuesday's video. This is, I forget, I think it just says coarse grain salt, kosher coarse grain salt, and I just put it in this little container. So we're going to use thicker salt today than we used last time. 2 containers, one for clean water, one for dirty water. I am most likely going to just use this one brush the entire time. It's the Winsor & Newton Cotman 10. It came with a set I have, and it's the brush I tend to grab every single time. Tape for your paper, masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you have. Washi tape works really well, I just don't have any. You're going to need a ruler because, unfortunately, we're going to have to do a few measurements today. And then I like to have a spray bottle because we're going to want to activate our paints. You saw on Tuesday that this metallic paint takes a really long time to activate. So I'm going to spray this in advance and let it sit. I'm also going to spray the lid of my core palette and let it sit while I tape this down and get the measurements and stuff. That'll start the paint activating and make my job easier and faster. So pause video, get your supplies, let's get started. All right, in order for us to have the right size cards, because most card bases you can get bigger ones, so order whatever size you want, and then make your measurements whatever size you want. But with my 11 by 15 paper, I can get 15 cards. I think I said that wrong a few minutes ago in the video, so ignore that. It's 15 cards out of one sheet of paper, and I really like that. And the card bases that I happen to have will fit the size I need for this perfectly. And the size I'm going to make these are 5 inches by 3.5 inches, and I'll have a little strip left over, you'll see that. So basically I have 15 inches here, and grab my pencil, and I'm just going to measure down 5 inches and make a mark, another 5 inches, and do the same thing over here. All right, and you'll put a line across. Obviously, one thing I didn't mention in the supplies you might need are either scissors or a paper cutter. What else could you use? You could use a cutting board and an X-Acto knife with a ruler to cut all these out when you're done with them. So that was 5 inches there, and then on the short side, we're going to make these every 3.5 inches. Okay, so you can see I'll have a little strip left there. I'll have to cut off at the end, but that's okay. Now my ruler is not long enough to go across this whole thing, so I'm actually going to make a mark in the middle, but I'll put it actually on this line so it won't show up quite as much. So 3.5, 7, and 10.5. This is only because I have 11 by 15 paper, and I'm going to make that size cards I told you about. So you gotta adjust for the size of card you're going to be doing. Okay, we've got that all measured out. One thing I forgot to mention is that at least most paper is not double-sided. So sorry I didn't tell you this before. Before you tear your paper out, make sure you know which side is the up side, the top side. In the Canson XL, this side is a little bit rougher and this side is smoother. So in the camera, the only thing you can probably tell is that one side is slightly shinier than the other, but in person, rougher, smoother. So just when you tear it out, keep the right side up. Maybe put a little X in one corner on the up side. All right, now I have to work with these facing up, which doesn't all fit in the camera, but I'm going to zoom in on just one particular one anyway. So stick it on your desk and tape it down. You probably don't have to tape it down, but I just think that, especially with this cheaper paper, it's going to work better. So I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. And you'll see my ruler was dirty and it left this green, a little bit of green on that piece right there. So if the watercolor doesn't cover that, I'll just keep that for my own card or whatever. So be careful, the bottom of your ruler is clean also. All right, let's get this taping. Pause, tape yours down. I'll fast forward. All right, let's move the kitty cat. Say hi. All right, let's get this party started. Waters are full. Palettes are sprayed. You've gone to the bathroom. Let's dig in. So normally I wouldn't start on this middle one, but I'm going to start on the middle one so I don't have to readjust my camera for zooming in. So you can start up on the corner and go in order, which would make a lot more sense as you work because your hand's going to get in the way. All right, so I'm wetting my brush, and this is the cool part because you just take whatever leftover colors you have that you want to start with as a base, and I'm going to try this blue. Oh, so pretty. Love core colors. They're so vibrant. All right, so you can see the, maybe you can't, tip of my brush is at a nice point. Okay, even though it's big. And then just like Tuesday's video, we're doing the same thing. You come down in your line for your trunk, and then for the base, simple little squiggle. And then revamp the paint. Reload your brush is the technical term. And dab on. And just keep reloading your brush. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there we go. And now it's in my way. Leave lots of white space. Maybe more than I left in Tuesday's video, which I have a hard time doing. I just want to put color everywhere. All right. And then clean your brush. And you don't have to dip into your clean water this time, unless you're going for like yellow. But grab your second color. Maybe this red. Purple would be nice too. You can just go crazy with colors here because it's a tree and you're going to put sparkly baubles on it. You know, people are going to know that it's a Christmas tree, no matter what color it is. So it's going to be abstract Christmas tree, which is my absolute favorite style of painting because, you know, if things are going to be realism, then you should just take a photo, right? Right. Okay, so now I want some more colors in there. Maybe this purple. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Okay. Some in the white spaces so they show up. Reload the brush. Okay. Good enough. Oh, I just sprayed paint everywhere. It's alright. It can look like sprinkles, or you can try and clean it up. No big deal. Now, when these dry, you might go back over them with some additional colors. Like right now, I just feel if I added more colors to this tree, it would just kind of get muddy. So, I mean, it's already not that attractive of a color. So I'll wait for that one to dry before adding some more color. So I'll zoom out and finish the other trees, and we'll get back together again, either when I add more colors or the metallics, yeah, out. All right, I'm gonna go back to, you can tell as they dry, sometimes they need a little something. That one's okay, but I want more color in it. So, back into this Quin Magenta, I think it is. Yes, it is. All right. Just brighten it up a little bit. Oh yeah, it's so pretty. Okay, and then that one got sad. Let's see. Let's start with that brightish red. Yep, that's bright. All right, back to that. What even is this color, Viridian? I don't know. Cobalt teal. Cobalt teal, apparently. Should have known that. I just watched a video on cobalt teal. That's dirty. Red and green are complements, so of course too much mixing will make them dirty, but it's fun to push the limits sometimes, see what you can get away with. I think I might take some of that, just kind of put like the tops. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Alright, so then you'll just kind of go through the rest of yours and see if there's anything you want to add, take away. Like this one's just way too monochromatic, and I know some people like that, so there's no reason you couldn't keep it that way, but I don't want it that way. So in we go. More. And metallic time. Can you see these? Yeah, you can see these. I'll do this middle one again so I can zoom in. I'm going to move this to the right side because I'm right-handed. And this has silver and all kinds, like the blue. So I might try the blue on that. I've not used the blue, but it looks like it's going to be amazing. Cross your fingers. Let's give it a try. You can use just the gold. I only told you about gold in the beginning, so if that's what you grabbed, you know, use it. That's fine. Okay. A little hard to see, but let me see. Oh, there we go. So literally just draw a childhood star like we learned in school. Okay, that's gonna be shiny, and you'll put little round baubles, ornaments type sparkles inside. And I'm doing a lot. I just wanted to. All right, I think this concludes this part, and you just cut them now on the lines and you're good. So a couple of things. That one I won't be sending, so that was a good idea. Bad execution, way too much paint. I did it again on this one with way less paint, and I know it's silver, you can't really see it, but I like it a lot. The rest, yeah, I think the rest are good to go. Like that one's got some stupid stupid stars, but you know, and the mistake we made, but I think it's still okay to go. And then there is room on the bottom of these if you want to put your title, I don't know what that's called, your saying on the bottom. Now these are too big. I do have a much smaller one that says Merry Christmas that I'll probably use on these because there's just no room, or you could put the Merry Christmas on the inside. So let's move on to the stockings. All right, moving on to the stockings. I did a little test because I actually wanted to see if these metallic paints could work just on their own for the stockings. And you can see the shine there. It's really awesome, the shine, but the pigment itself, the actual red color, it's a little disappointing, but I still want to try it, so I will try in the red, the green, and the blue. And I'm actually going to spray these with a little more water again because I waited for this dude to dry because I also put salt on it, and this is that coarse grain we talked about in the beginning. So it did some effects, but I think there just isn't quite enough pigment in the paint. We'll see. We'll see. So I'll try 3 at the top of this in that metallic color, and then we'll just use the regular paints for the other. So I'll zoom out and whoop, out I says. And I'm going to start at the top. And I don't have an outline or anything for these because they're just socks. Little socks, little stocking socks. So the only thing you have to be careful is when you start the sock, the stocking, you have to remember that it has a top. Okay? So you just have to start down low enough that when you do the full sock, there's room up there for that fluffy top. Okay? So one thing I did too is I refreshed my water. I got all clean water because those colors from the trees really gummed it up. So I have all clean water in my dishes, and I'm going to start with that red metallic. So I fast forwarded through this section on purpose because I ended up not being happy at all with these stockings initially. Didn't really want to put it in the video, but you can see the basic ideas. The sock shape, add some salt when you want it. You got to add salt at a very specific time and a specific amount of water or it doesn't work. But anyway, I will get back to more stockings and why I wasn't happy with them later on in the video. So stay tuned for that. It's kind of interesting. So now we can go back to the tops. I'm going to keep my big brush for now. So this is pretty dirty, and I notice when I pull my brush out of it and like put it on the side, it comes out kind of blue. So when you wet for the top fluffy part of these stockings, use your clean water. Okay, so the tricky part is to keep your hands out of the other wet paint. And by the way, these metallics take forever to dry. So this one took over an hour, which is crazy. Regardless, gotta wait. Be patient. But I'm not patient, so we're starting on these. And it's okay if the paint isn't completely dry and it comes up into these tops because it actually looks kind of cool. So just put water there. And if you want the same metallic, you can do that. Just kind of drop it in, and it makes it look all fuzzy fun. And that was a little too much water. So now I have a thirsty brush, as they say. And I'll just grab some more of that direct pigment. Bam. Stick under there. And then you might want a thinner brush for this part, but putting your little tag on it. And then you just do a lot of repeating. It's really fun actually seeing how the tops of these stockings come together. So I would just caution you not to put too much water on it. It looks way better with less. And then I took the brush and sprinkled, but I really recommend if you're going to spatter. If you're going to spatter, use a toothbrush. I used my big brush and it just wasn't that great. So since I wasn't happy with those, I redid them with more pigmented paint and then with the pure core paints, I tried to mix in other colors to see if it would make it look more interesting, and it still turned out really disappointing. So if you want to find out why, stay tuned to the end because I tell you why, and it's a fun fact, so wait for it. Cutting them out. Took a while. So I've brought these out because this is the metallic praying watercolor, and this is our first attempt with the core greens and the second attempt at the core greens, and I don't know if it's just because this metallic is so vibrant or what, but these just fall short. So I'll show you a way at the end to make them look better, but if you have metallic watercolors, maybe just use those. Like, so here's the green, and here's the purple, metallic, regular. Purple's not terrible, but still, like, this just outshines in person. And here's all our red attempts. Okay, metallic, obviously. And then we did several red attempts here. So none of them look that great. In fact, our very first one actually looks the best. This one here. But I don't know. And I don't know if you can see it, probably so, but the metallic dries with this sheen on it that's just awesome for these cards. So here's our blues. There's the metallic with that lovely sheen and the non-metallic. And I like this one. Like, it needs some details, which again I'll show you at the end, but I don't know. Just so-so. However, on the other hand, I love our trees. Like, all our trees turned out really cool. Like, even this one, I love the colors in this one. You know, it's too bad this star, I didn't bring the water in there because these are really cool colors. So these turned out pretty cool. I love these. And put sayings on them and stick them in cards and call it good. So it's the next day and the quality stuff just kept bugging me. So I knew probably what the problem was and experimented this morning. So here's the green ones that I wasn't that thrilled with. And, you know, being the next day, they do look better than when I first did them. I'm like, ooh, these are awful. Anyway, these, I don't even know if you can tell in person, you're not in person, but this is Canson XL paper. This is a sheet of arches, and there's a big difference between these, especially up in the tops and all of that. So it's probably not as visible to you on camera, unfortunately, but if you want to do these stockings, I think because there's such big spaces, you should maybe go ahead and use your better paper. It's just a really big difference here in person. So here's the green ones. Let's look at this. I don't have a purple one. I didn't do purple, but this is the ones we did with a little bit of purple and alizarin crimson, and they're just a, I don't know, big difference here. Like, wow, that compared to this, and these had salt on them, but like, whoa, big whoa. So Arches cotton paper is the way to go. Now look at this. I'll find ones here that are the same color. Okay, so this is the same color as this on Arches paper. Okay, and I did put a little salt on this one, and I put a little salt on this one, so wow, huge difference. And this is without salt. So if you want to even compare this little one to this one, you can see such a big difference. The blues are, again, look pretty pretty okay once they got all decorated and it's the next day, but this, I had a bunch of colors mixed in it, trying to get it to look better, and that's just a solid color on arches. So I didn't even need to do anything to it to make it look so cool. And a piece of salt accidentally got on it, and then here's the one with the salt. Okay, so it's just better. Everything's better. So cheap paper may be not the way to go when you have big washes of color like this. One more thing real quick, using the back side of arches. So this is the back side, the wrong side. Even got me a way better result on, these are the same color from my palette. So even the back side of arches is better than the paper I don't like. So here's where you get to go crazy and decorate them however you want. So after they're cut out, I just used those stamps, and I couldn't find my stamp block, but eventually I used a Tupperware because it was just making it too crooked. But if you don't have these stamp sayings, again, like I said in the beginning, whatever you have, use it. Pens, I was using these ink pads to do around the edges, but even if you have just markers, you can marker around the edges and it still looks really nice. Okay, desk is a bit of a mess here, but I wanted to show you a few things. This is the double-sided taper I usually use, and I can't tape any of these down because mine's empty and I don't have any refills, so I need to run into town. So that's the only reason I haven't taped these down. But you can see I found more colors of just these simple card bases, postcard basically bases, and they look so nice. I hope the light's not too bright to show you well, but if you just mix and match different colors, they're just going to look really awesome. Check this green one out. I really like that one. It's just turned out so beautiful. Let's try it on red. Okay, so you'll just flip these over, tape, and stick them on. I wouldn't recommend glue. This is that Canson paper, remember, it's already warped enough, but tape, double-sided tape works best. Okay, so that's that on green and on red. Okay, and kind of get the point, I'm sure. So here is this beautiful one, and this is one of an actual folding card base. And look at that. That looks so nice. And if you put it on blue, it's not exactly the same blue, but it's the blue I have. And just for fun, let's try green. It's weird, but you know, to everyone their own. This really brings out the red inside of this one, so that's kind of neat. So just play with these and which backgrounds you like, because each one gives it a just slight different look. So I just love this. Love the trees. The trees turned out good. So I know this was a pretty long video, but I hope you got some value out of it and that you find it useful in your own Christmas card making this season. So have a Merry Christmas. I will see you in the next video.